Welcome to the kiwimana Day. Hi, this week we are talking about when Great Britain comes to Kiwi Nirvana land, addiction, saunas, bumblebees and sticky fingers. This is episode 87 of our Beekeeping podcast.
Yep, and it's called Freedom Camping in Kiwi Nirvana land. This is episode 87. And this was recorded in March 2016, which is autumn in New Zealand. So thanks a lot for coming along today.
Yeah, cheers, guys. In this show, we'll talk about what we are up to and preparing for the end of summer, therefore the start of our winter preparations.
Absolutely, and special thanks to all our patrons. And this week we're going to thank Aaron and Lauren Jennings from Jennings Apiaries. Thanks for your support, guys.
That's it, guys. Thank you.
And welcome to the Kiwimana Buzz. And we have a special audio from some Freedom campers. Wait a minute. Here it is.
Hello, it's Christopher Brown here from the UK. When I'm not working with supercomputers in Sheffield, I like to listen to the Kiwimana Buzz podcast. Thanks awfully.
Woohoo, that was great. Now, we'll tell you a bit more about that as we go along, but this is Gary and Margaret. We are beekeepers from the hills of the Waitakere Ranges in West Auckland, New Zealand. So welcome. Our podcast is about beekeeping, gardening,
and political issues from time to time.
About the environment that connect us to things that affect the bees.
And we've often been known to going off on tangents. And this show is no different.
That's it, guys. You know, we've got to have these tangents. So, yeah, welcome. And the show notes are?
At kiwi.bz/87. And big shout out this week to our listeners in Limerick in Ireland.
Woohoo! Welcome, Limerick.
And did you know that Limerick is where Frank McCourt's memoir, Angela's Ashes, is based? Have you read that?
No.
No, I haven't either. I've heard it's quite sad. So
okay, well,
anyway,
yeah.
Maybe I'll read that over winter. Thanks.
We'll have some time for that.
Hopefully. Thank you for listening to our show. We know life is busy, and we really appreciate you've taken the time out of your life to join us today. So thanks, guys, for joining us.
Thank you. It's great to have you here, and we hope you enjoy.
Absolutely. We've got some great feedback this month, so check it out. And
let's see what's happening at Kiwimana, Gary? What's happening in your side of things?
Well, Margaret, lots is happening. Lots has been happening. We went to a podcasting conference, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. We met some great people. We met Chris Ravencraft, the podcast Answer Man, and he gave us some tips on things to try in business, which is great. So those things might be coming up soon.
Yeah, that was interesting for us to meet this guy that we've listened to over quite a bit of time, and I know that Gary listens to a lot of his stuff, so awesome. Yeah.
And we met Will Fleming from My Kiwi Life, great podcast from New Zealand.
He's a wonderful guy, and
very tall, eh?
Yeah. If you guys want to listen to something quite interesting, he's got a great podcast there, My Kiwi Living.
My Kiwi Life.
Oh, Kiwi Life, sorry. My
right.
Kiwi Life.
Well, it's kind of living in My Kiwi Life. So
yes, that's right.
That. And Cliff also put everyone onto Snapchat, which is this social media thing, which is interesting. Hey, what do you think of it, Dale?
I like Periscope. I think Periscope was a lot more fun for me because you actually interacted, and I quite like that. So, yeah, I'm not sure about this one, but you know.
Well, we're giving it a go.
We're giving it a go. We give everything a go.
We do.
We're just that kind of folk, aren't we?
Well, we try most things.
That's it. And well, let's not go down that road.
No. Gee,
now, Gary's going off on a tangent.
Anyway, tonight we recorded some bit of funny things before we started the podcast. So we may have to put those on YouTube.
You're talking about the Snapchat thing?
Yeah, Snapchat.
Yeah, we did a bit of that.
And if you're on Snapchat, you can follow us at kiwimana Buzz. BUZZ or ZZ. So, just having a play with it. Drop us a line or send us a message on Snapchat and tell us what you think of it.
Yeah, okay. What's next, Gary?
I also did a presentation to a kindergarten in the local area. That was great fun. All the kids are about 3 to 4 years old, all very keen on bees.
I think Gary had so much fun, and he just couldn't rave about it enough after he got home, so that was cool. So he was amongst his peers.
Yeah, intellectual peers. It was great. But a lot of them didn't know that bees pollinate stuff. A lot of them didn't know the difference between a wasp and a bee, but by the end, they all did. That's great
stuff. Well, we got to start young, educating them about the environment and our insects and how important they are, eh?
Yep, I might do a blog post about that, but unfortunately, we won't be able to have any pictures of the kids because it's apparently illegal to take photos of children without the parents' permission, so that's fair enough. And what else did they talk about? Oh, one little boy asked about 100 questions.
100, boy.
He asked a lot, so I think he might be a future beekeeper, hopefully.
Yeah, either that or a research scientist.
Yes, absolutely. And as we talked about before, and you heard that message from Chris, we met Chris and Laura, for listeners from England.
Oh, this was just amazing. Like, we have been privileged and honoured to be visited by people from Denmark, from Australia, and the UK, Ireland, yeah, and all over the place, and they've come to see us, and meeting this couple just really touched my heart, because it means that what we do is actually helping people across the water and all over. So thank you so much. And Laura and Chris came to meet us.
Yeah, we went out for dinner, eh? It was awesome. And then we
had such a good time.
We had to make sure they could get into the campsite, and they couldn't get into their campsite, so we let them stay at the top of our drive.
Yeah.
Because they had a camper van.
And boy, that was a big camper van, I tell you not. And they went down to South Island. I don't think they took the camper there, did they?
I think they did.
Oh, okay, man, that thing is just like on our roads here where we live, they're all windy and really narrow. So that was an experience in itself.
Yeah, so that was great to meet them, and we had managed to have breakfast with them as well, so that was cool, eh?
Yeah, we just thoroughly enjoyed their time, and Chris is the one who made comments on episode 76 about Kiwi Nirvana land, and it was lovely for him to come here and lovely for us to meet him, and he could see, kiwimana truly for what it is.
Yeah, no, I think that was great. And I think the best thing about it to me was that he actually saw Nirvana land and he wasn't disappointed.
It's always the fear, isn't it? Disappoint.
The other thing that was good that he said that we're exactly like we are on the podcast, so that's good. That's how we are, guys. We're just how we are. So, if you come and meet us, we'll be the same.
Yeah, thanks so much, Chris and Laura, and we hear you're back in town and over in Sheffield, and just be well, and thank you so much for such a great visit. We appreciated it very much.
Yeah, and they're very keen because they got back on Sunday and they were at work on Monday, so it's tough.
Yeah, and we made a few jokes about freedom camping, but we benefited from the freedom camper leftovers, and
we did. We had some spaghetti bolognese the next day.
Yeah, that's it. Some coffee, some nice English breakfast tea.
Fancy coffee,
fancy schmancy. So thanks so much, guys, and we hope to be in touch soon.
Absolutely. And also we've got mentioned on a new beekeeping podcast that's in the works. It hasn't started yet. It's called Let's Talk About Top Bar Beekeeping. This is done by Steve, and there's a message later from Steve. But let's have a listen to this. This is the intro music and where we got mentioned.
Welcome, everybody, to Let's Talk About Top Bar Beekeeping. I'm your host, Steve Lawson.
The couple that's out of New Zealand, and I think they ended up subscribing to this, they interviewed JP a few weeks ago, and that opened up the door for me to know that they were out there. I've been listening to their podcast. I get a hoot. I think the wife in that, I love her voice and her accent. She's a hoot.
That's Gary and Margaret.
Yes, Margaret. Yeah, I get a kick out of them, and I enjoy their podcast.
You're a hoot. You're a hoot.
I'm a hoot. Hoot, hoot. Who'd have thought it? Who'd have thought it?
Hey, wifey. It's hilarious.
Yeah, that's cool. Thanks so
Thanks,
much.
guys. That was Yuppie. No, Yappy. That's his nickname. Sorry. And that is Steve Lawson, whose new podcast is in the works. So look out for that. Well, once he's released it, we'll actually make another mention of it.
Yeah, that'll be great, and look forward to hearing, their adventures in top bar beekeeping.
Absolutely. And what's happening with you, Margaret? Great to see you tonight.
Oh, yeah, and I saw you dancing. Oh,
to the Let's Talk About Beekeeping.
That's it, I saw you.
It's a great intro, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's very, it's uplifting.
So Hive Alive, any updates?
No updates. I haven't really worried about feeding at this point. Most of the colonies, all of the colonies seem to be doing okay. I've just been feeding the ones that might not have had enough with just honey from frames. So no, I haven't used it yet, guys, but I still may do. We're just going to watch the space for that one.
Awesome, and we've organised a beekeeping course, which is sold out rapidly, wasn't it? That was quite good.
Yeah, actually we oversold it because while I was organising for some people to come on, other people had booked online, so there was a bit of a crossover. But we've organised the facility, so plenty of room, and it's going to be awesome. I'm just going to really, it's great. I'm really looking forward to it, and just hope that everyone else enjoys that. So, yeah, that was bit of a...
Absolutely. That started this week, doesn't it?
Yeah, and we've got more interest in some other stuff, so people just want to come along and have a look at the apiary too. So that's another interesting question we've got from one of our newsletter subscribers. So, we're always thinking about new things.
Yeah, we've had some people from India asking us about courses too.
Yeah, that was interesting. The language barrier is quite restrictive and a bit of a shame, but, we do our best to communicate and see what the question really is about. Absolutely.
And you've been busy doing beekeeping services?
Well, you'd like to think so, but we've had, as it's now... autumn, officially on the 1st of March was autumn here in New Zealand. We've had sort of like some real fluctuating weather. So we've had really humid conditions, high temperature and drizzle and damp. So I haven't been able to get some of the beekeeper services done because of that reason. And opening a hive when it's drizzly and damp is not a good idea because the bees will have to work very hard to dry the hive out again. So my advice is, while that's that kind of weather, don't open your hives, guys.
Yep, if you can avoid it. I know a lot of commercial guys don't have a choice, so they have to have a good bee suit.
What? Don't have a choice?
They sometimes have to work the hives no matter what the weather's like. Anyway, annual leave but not a holiday. What's this about?
Well, guys, we are expecting our third grandchild, which is going to be a girl. Awesome. And banana! Oh, yeah, it is bananas because, we've got two grandsons and now we've got a baby girl. So I'm very thrilled, and I'm going down to help out as best I can and, take the kids on a Nana experience or Alma experience, because then, I can help out and do what I like with them.
Wow, you're going to be very busy, aren't you?
Yeah, it's going to be challenging for me to have that kind of demand, but it's going to be good because it'll be good to spend time with them, and maybe I'll catch up with some friends on the way down to Wellington, and then it's going to be great.
Absolutely, and I'll be holding the fort, so bear with us at this time, but we should guys, should be okay.
Yeah, contact Gary. He'll be lonely. He'll need some company. Get in touch, ring him. make lots of orders, so it keeps him busy on his toes so he doesn't get too lonely. So
that's it. And speaking of lots of orders, we're getting ready for the bee season 2016, which is coming up in September.
Absolutely.
The new season.
Well, guys, when you're a beekeeper, you think, well, it's coming into winter, well, here in New Zealand at least, and, you're starting to wind down a bit, but we're here at Kiwimana HQ, we're actually building up to our bee season 2016, and we always start our bee season on the 1st of September. That's how we do it here. The reality is that, we should be preparing for next season now. So we've got some exciting things coming up, and we will talk about them more in the next episode.
Absolutely.
And watch the space for that kind of stuff, because the things that you need to do now are all going to make your life a lot easier when you go into spring, and that's what the whole plan's all about. We also are ordering stock and trying to get on top of that before the season starts, and so we got everything ready for you, because we do sell beekeeping supplies. We're going to start selling nucleus colonies, and we're also selling mated queens, and it's going to be just an awesome season. I'm very excited. Woohoo!
You blew the speakers.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Sorry.
I've got to stop saying absolutely, because someone said I said it too much.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
Yeah,
and what's the next thing? Big thanks for your reviews.
Yeah, wow. We are getting so many comments from you guys, and I don't know, from me, I really thank you so much for taking time to do that, because we work really hard to bring things to you and share as much as we can, and to get the kind of feedback we've been getting has just been it's reaffirming. And we've got patrons that help us out, and that helps us work on our projects and the next things. And through those donations and everything, we are going to develop some more educational stuff. So we're working on that, so people overseas can access that. And we'll just try and put some mediums together so that people don't have to live next door.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I mean, affirmative.
Okay,
anyway, let's
moving
move
along.
on to blog recap. Blog recap, where we recap the blogs from last month. And the first one...
these are the top 3, aren't they?
Top 3. First one, Sizzling in New Zealand. This was our episode 85. And we have some feedback from Joe Lewis.
Hi, Gary and Margaret. This is Joe Lewis. Want to say thanks for your podcast. I really enjoy it. Just wanted to add something to your creamed honey discussion. Many years ago, the DICE laboratory at Cornell University identified the perfect temperature for creating creamed honey for the crystallization process, and that temperature was 15 degrees Celsius or 59 degrees Fahrenheit. Much below that, the crystallization would be retarded, and much above that as well. So after you prepare your honey and introduce the crystal starter into your mix, if you're trying to make crystallized or creamed honey, then you quickly put it in tubs and then take it to that cool temperature, and the next day it's solid.
Oh, crunchy. We're going crunchy.
There's some good information out there about Professor Dice and his experiments.
Wow, that's great.
That's great. Thanks so much, Joe. And we actually did some more research, and the Cornell University, looks like the article has gone, but Beekeeping Linda, she's got an article about the Dice method, and it's called Making Creamed Honey, so that'll be in the show notes, which is kiwimana.bz/87.
That's
it.
Oh, thanks. So I get some points for that one.
Thanks, Joe. Fantastic to hear from you, and we really, really appreciate hearing you guys' voices, so it's great.
Yeah, and that article was that DICE method is Linda Tillman. It's an article she's put out there, so that's
right,
great.
From Beekeeping Linda. And we got a message from Ingo in Wales. And he
G'day, Ingo.
Yep, hey Ingo, how's it going? Friend of the show.
Friend of the show.
It's great. And he was saying that Elder, because this was talking about Elder, is the first supermarket to ban...
Is that LD?
LD. I think Eldo sounds better. Ingo, Eldo.
Sounds better, but is it correct?
No. Aldi is a huge budget supermarket that's spread from Germany throughout most of Europe. But unfortunately, they do still sell cheap honey that is EU and non-EU blends. So probably from China or elsewhere. It is time that product labelling in the EU should state exact country of origin.
Yes, here.
And he also says, if the TAPP, which is like our TAPPA, goes through, we'll all be eating food laced with HFC, I think it means high fructose corn syrup, which is GMO based. We do not understand the long-term health consequences for humans, and I agree with Margaret that this treaty will only benefit politicians and multinational companies.
Yeah, that's a good, interesting point. Thanks for your, feedback on that, because I sometimes think that these things that the politicians tell us that this is for us. Well, if it's so much for us, why aren't we allowed to be a part of the discussion? Why aren't we part of that consultation? Why aren't we allowed to be in those rooms where they're talking about this? Why is it not recorded for public to watch? All these little things that are going on are just, saying that this is possibly not the best deal for us and will open New Zealand itself to very much litigious action and, litigation against big countries, or they may have it against us. So
little countries.
Yeah, it's quite frightening, and he says... Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, you can make submissions to this TPPA, and it's happening, I think you've got to do it before middle of March, is it right?
Something like that. And the thing is that how can you make submissions against a document that's... How many pages is it? It's huge. And I wouldn't... where would you start?
Well, I'm going to start
Beekeeping.
I'm going to start with the things that affect me. I'm not going to put a submission for everything.
But I think it's trying to understand what this document is, and I think that the politicians are actually praying against our ignorance and that we don't understand. But the reality is that they haven't given us enough so we can understand. So I think that's, boo to them, I say. But
bar humbug to you.
Yes, and Ingo goes on to say,
enjoying all the news and podcasts. Keep the tangents coming, Margaret. And banana to you.
Best wishes from a wet Wales, Ingo. Thanks, Ingo.
Thanks,
and,
Ingo.
Banana!
To you too. Thanks, that's awesome. And Emily writes from London.
There's a lot of feedback today, isn't there? This is wonderful.
That's awesome. And Emily from London says, thanks for linking to my blog, because she was the one that wrote the article about the new research about oxalic acid being better from a vaporizer. Yeah,
that was really enlightening. Thanks for that, Emily. We appreciated that research coming to us.
And she says your website is looking fab.
Everything is absolutely fabulous.
It's awesome.
Awesome.
And the next post, which we'll hear a little bit about later on, Beekeeping in Wellington with Frank Lindsay. And this Frank's a very well-respected beekeeper in New Zealand.
Absolutely.
And this is a really great interview, I thought. I thought it was, he had some good ideas and some good tips from his 45 years of beekeeping.
Absolutely.
So check that one out. It's Kiwi.
And
Kiwi.
Guys, sorry to interrupt, but Gary had a great time doing this and raved about it afterwards. And you will enjoy this too.
Absolutely. And a lot of people in New Zealand have downloaded it, so that's fantastic. And the last popular post.
You were going to say the link?
kiwi.bz/Frank.
Cool. That'll get you to have a listen to this, and you'll enjoy it, guys.
Yep, absolutely. And if you subscribe to the podcast, you get these automatically every couple of weeks.
Yeah, awesome. Be a part of the kiwimana buzz.
Absolutely. And the last most popular post was Beekeepers Q&A, end of January. This was our Q&A for end of January. It was popular.
Yeah, that was
movie.
Great. That was the one where we had a visitor.
No, it wasn't.
Wasn't it?
Nope. This was the last one that we did. You're talking about the Fat Bee Man. That was previously.
That just is the one that comes to my mind. But there you go. I'm just got so much on.
Yep. No, this was the last Q&A. So we need to get some more organised, don't we?
Oh, that was when we had visitors that weren't beekeepers?
Yeah, we had a lot of gardeners and a lot of
Yeah.
people thinking about beekeeping.
Yeah, I think that was an interesting one. But anyway, guys, you can check out any of those Q&As. And where would they go to find them?
Well, if you go to kiwi.bz/live, if you go to the very bottom, you can see all the YouTube videos. There's 4 of them at the moment, so you can have a look. You can watch the old movies.
Cool. And what lovely noise are you going to put on now, Gary?
It's time for the news. Welcome to the Kiwimana News.
Coming to you live from the hills of West Auckland at Kiwimana HQ.
On a chilly autumn night. Or
As the
chilly-ish.
sun starts to set and snow watches over the perimeter to make sure we're safe. But out there, local man accused of having sticky fingers.
Yes, this is a story from Northland, which is up north. It's a story about a bee thief that allegedly stole 3 shipping containers full of beekeeping equipment. Now, that is hard going. How would you steal a
this is
shipping
what Kiwi spirit's all about. It's that Kiwi can-do attitude.
Yeah, he must have had a truck.
I can't believe this. This is terrible.
It is terrible for the company, and we should not laugh. And also we must say that this guy allegedly has stolen it because it has not gone to trial yet.
Okay, so anything we say is actually just our view from the information that's been put out there in the public arena.
Yes, and the quote from the article is: a Northland man is facing more charges of stealing beehives as well as 3 shipping containers which contained items related to the production of honey. And he also stole a beehive that was worth $9,500.
That sounds interesting. I don't know
have-
if I've ever seen a beehive that's worth that much money.
It must have been a breeder queen or something.
Yeah.
So that's no good, guys. So local man accused of having sticky honey. That's from the Northland
Sticky
Advocate.
fingers, Dale.
Well, he had sticky honey and sticky fingers.
Okay.
Oh, who writes these puns in these articles?
Yeah. That's it. Well, we were going to tell you about sticky fingers here at Kiwimana Buzz. So there it is, guys.
Absolutely. And, so this is just an ongoing issue with Manuka honey in New Zealand that people are
it's crazy.
resorting to stealing of other people's hard work. So that's no good.
And so some of you have given us your feedback on this. And this is Follow the Honey. We don't like this, but you know what we mean.
Wink emotion.
Wink emoticon.
Yes. So that's Follow the Honey.
I think that's a bit of a pun on whether you can click an article and say you like it. We don't like what's happening, but we like to hear that the articles, making us aware that there are issues out there.
And I believe that's Mary from Follow the Honey that we're interviewing soon, which is coming out in a couple of weeks. And the next person is Bert Legg. Glad they caught them. Pity they weren't caught. It would be a good day when trackers can be more affordable for
all
beaks, pros, and backyarders.
Yeah, I think so. And thanks, Bert, for your comments, because we really want to get this sorted out, and it just shows you how crazy this whole Manuka thing is going in New Zealand, a natural product that's really being undermined by people's behaviour. Absolutely,
and these next comments are a bit more stern. Gil McCoy says, throw away the key, scum.
Straight to the point, Gil, there. Gil. Thanks for your comment on that one. We sort of, feel the same.
And Craig Lovelall says, I'd like to think he'll be hung by the hocks for this. Okay, Craig.
It's actually, we're quite a peace-loving nation, but, when you start talking about bees and stuff, we do get really passionate.
We do.
And we go a bit.
Banana! It's true, we do. It's true. And the next story is similar. Greed threats, honey hunt. Trouble is brewing up north with corporate beekeeping companies employing unethical practices in the hunt for Manuka honey, says Malcolm Scrivener in the article from the Farmers Weekly website in New Zealand. And the quote says, too many bees are exploiting far north Manuka, so yields and quality are adversely affected, and large companies are behaving unethically. Beekeepers say the gold rush for the unique Manuka factor, UMF, honey stores has brought about turf disputes, threats, assaults, and even high fires and box destruction, they say.
So this is really an indication of people going to the other side, the dark side, to get part of the action. But you know what, guys, out there, we're all going to be all right, and we're all going to be able to share part of this. So, you know, this is where people need to stop being so greedy. But then why are people greedy? Is there something wrong here that makes them think that this is okay?
Absolutely. And what he's saying in the article is that people, they lease a lot of farmland for a lot of quite good, high costs, eh?
Yeah.
And unethical beekeepers are just planting beehives right on the boundary of these properties, which isn't illegal, but he's saying it's unethical.
Yeah, and I think
kind of agree.
Yeah, I think it's unethical, but unless government is going to put out the resources there to manage it, I don't know if this is going to change.
Yeah, I wonder if all the recent news about the Australians starting to get into the Manuka honey, I wonder if it'll make things better or make things worse.
Yeah, this is a bit of information that we've received, that a New Zealand company is joining with an Australian company, and they are setting up apiaries for high production, trying to capture the Manuka side of things, the leptospermum. And yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about this.
Well, I mean, let's hope that they don't have the same issues in Australia with these feeding people. So let's hope, eh?
Yeah, and we got some feedback on that from Joyce. Hi, Joyce.
Yeah,
Good to hear from you. Sounds like all the other gold rush schemes. Angora goats, alpacas, etc. Sickening.
Yeah, kind of agree. And Chris Mitchell says, sounds like the water resources in Canterbury, not easy to solve.
Yeah, because you don't want to deny someone, a way to earn a living. But I think if they're behaving that way, then, I think we go back to some of those comments about throwing away the key and stuff.
Hanging by the hocks.
That's a classic. All right, guys.
Reminds you of Police 10-7. Remember that show? It was hilarious. Anyway, that's another story.
Okay, what's next, Gary?
Innovative solution for Varroa mites, sauna for your bees.
Oh, this one sounds really hot.
And this,
hot off the press.
Well, literally, probably cooked toast on it.
Okay, this is an interesting idea from Germany that exploits the low tolerance to heat that the Varroa mites have. The project is still in the developmental stage or phase and is looking for funding. They say that the price, they suspect it's about €1,500, which would put most New Zealand beekeepers off.
I think it would.
Yeah.
No, those are my thoughts at the top, and I think it would. And mites,
are they your thoughts? Why?
Yeah,
your thoughts.
I do have thoughts.
Thanks for sharing your thoughts. It's awesome. And you're also saying that mites and bees have a 6-degree difference in heat tolerance. So that's interesting.
Yes, so the quote from the article says, beekeepers, always get sparkles in our eyes when we hear the news about fighting Varroa mites.
Yes, we do.
The news is certainly worth your attention, just like related news from last year. Innovative, effective biological Varroa treatment. And how this works is it heats the hive to about, 45 degrees, I think? But it's to a temperature where the mites die, but the bees don't. And they've only got a 6-degree difference in heat tolerance, the mites and the bees. So you can heat bees more than you can mites. So the idea is it kills the mites and keeps the bees. Thoughts, opinions.
I think it's going to be awesome if it does come to pass. Maybe we should be doing different things in the colonies that we have at the moment to help the bees create that heat factor within the hive, and maybe they could do it naturally.
Well, I know that in a cluster in winter, the Varroa mites can't actually produce inside that cluster because it's too hot. So that does sort of work.
Yeah, okay. I think that's probably so that they've got some good footings to do this study. The thing about Sauna says to me damp and wet. So I wonder how they can cope with that if they're in a country like us where we have a lot of rain and everything, whether that would add to our troubles.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I think it's still in the funding phase, this project, so it'll be interesting to see, because I do think that the €1,500 for one unit's probably going to put a lot of backyard beekeepers off. What do you think?
Yeah, I think probably to get things started, it might be quite expensive in the initial stages, and maybe over time it will get better. But it sort of reminds me of the fogging system that was used, and there was a lot of hive failures through that. So I'm not sure.
Well, we'll have a look and wait and see, and get some feedback.
Check out that article, guys. It's a good one.
Okay, you've got a feedback from Matt Brake from the New Forest. Really interesting, Gary. Does it not make the bees want to bed on the hive through to cool off? Even if they did, I guess it would be worth it to avoid using chemicals to get rid of Varroa. Wonder if I could make one.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's a good point, because if the entrance was open, they would probably all come out. But I mean, I'm just thinking maybe they shut it. I'd say they'd have to.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it would work, and I guess that's part of this research they're doing. That they've got this theory, so they're running with that, and then we'll see what happens, eh?
Absolutely, and some more feedback from a guy called Al Buzz. That's a great name.
I love that, Al Buzz.
Great idea.
We agree. We think it's a great idea. Let's see how their research goes, and watch this space in Germany.
Absolutely. And the next story is, how does honey affect your blood counts?
Yes, blood. How much blood do you need? Or, how much honey do you need?
And the quote for this one is, a spoonful of honey cannot cause much of a change in the long run, but those who regularly consume honey would probably have better blood counts.
Awesome. So how does honey affect your blood counts? Check out this article, and I think it's actually got a lot of merit. And I think what they're saying is that if you just have one spoon and not do it after that, and then maybe 2 weeks and then have something else after that, it's not where you're going to have the change. So read this article. It'll tell you how you can do this, and the recommendations within the article say do a blood count before and after you have your trial period. So
yeah, absolutely. And it says that regular consumption normalises white blood cells, leukocytes count in your blood, and also cholesterol is reduced.
Now that is a plus. It goes back to the whole thing that natural food is the medicine.
Absolutely. I mean, have a look at this article and try and look at the sources for this before you continue with this, and maybe even ask your doctor, because if you're, as one of the feedback says here, Heather Carston says, where though are the results for those with diabetes? So you might want to check with your doctor before you decide to do this.
I think that's interesting.
We are not doctors or play one on television.
That's right. We don't play one. We don't try to be doctors, but get that, bee doctors. Do you like that? I just sort of slipped that in there anyway.
Oh, it's comedy gold.
Comedy gold, man. And they're saying on this article that the recommended daily dose is 1 to 2 grams per kilo of body weight.
That's a lot of honey.
That's a lot of honey for some of us who are, of a larger body weight. So, it's interesting. Maybe you could do your own checks and just do it on a smaller basis. I don't know if it's going to be good. I think it's about regular dosing, but
absolutely. If you do try this, do what Margaret suggested in the article suggests. Do a before and after count, and leave some comments in the show notes of how you did. Yeah,
if you guys do this, it is like Gary says, we're not doctors, and if you have got a real high diabetes situation, check with your doctor.
Yeah, be careful. And the next one is from Hillary. We love Hillary.
I love this.
We like your blog, don't we?
Yes, I love it.
this is the 10 stages of beekeeping addiction.
10 stages of beekeeping addiction.
And the quote says, many new beekeepers fall head over heels for bees. I often joke that my story is a classic tale of girl meets bees. Not only is the world of bees fascinating, the sheer volume of information on the subject can be engrossing. And great post from Hillary, as we said, all about the signs that a beekeeper has a beekeeper addiction.
Yeah.
How many of these do you have, Margaret?
Let's
go through them.
Okay, well, the very first one she talks about is withdrawal.
Yes.
So when you walk away from your bees and you haven't seen them, what happens to you?
Do you start trembling?
Do you start looking through the window, get your binoculars out?
Yes, you do. And do you drone on about bees all the time? Never.
Oh, only in certain circles or certain clusters.
And we drone on about bees so much we talk about it on a podcast. But that's good.
Hey, guys, have you done this? Have you investigated all nearby flowers for your bees?
Yes, I do that all the time.
I get lots of beginners saying, I planted this and I planted that and I'm doing this and I've got them under the hive, I've got them in front of the hive. It's just, the addiction's out there, guys. What's this?
At the moment they're on the ginger, and in the weekend they're on the willow.
Yeah, they really love that at the moment. And
you need to ID all buzzing UFOs.
Yeah, do you have to identify what that buzz is?
Yes, I do.
This is the kiwimana buzz.
No, this is the buzz. Because sometimes they're flies. You can tell a difference. Wasps have got a different sound too. And you definitely can tell bees.
Paper wasps, you can't even hear them.
And this one here, there was a classic case of this the other day when we were out for dinner with Chris and Laura. You constantly think, I could put a hive there. And you were looking outside on the front lawn of this restaurant. And you were saying, I could put a hive there. And I said, no.
Guilty.
Step away from the hive. And you hear a buzzing when there are no bees around. I don't know if I've had that.
I'm not sure if I have had that, but...
This next one you have, when you close your eyes at night, you see bees. Do you do that?
I do sometimes see bees. Sometimes I dream about some of the colonies that I'm working on and hoping, where there's issues, I sometimes worry about that. I know other people are dreaming about queen bees and,
Oh, yes. And when you feel pain, you assume you've just been stung. That's true.
This is, honestly, guys, you need to check out Hillary. She is an awesome writer. She is so passionate and... the things she brings to the table or to the beehive or to the buzz or whatever, she is just so bang on. And, she goes on to say that you find bees everywhere and they frequent your dreams. And so you are, I'm sorry to say, an addict.
That bees everywhere, I think that's true because when you're sitting at the beach, they come and land on you and stuff.
Yeah, you do. You notice them everywhere. And, the other side of it is that when you start to compare family members and their types of bees, like we know that we've got a lot of nurse bees. We also know we've got a lot of drones.
Yeah, a lot of drones.
And we also know we've got a lot of guard bees. Some of them are really interesting to watch.
And we actually interviewed Hillary, didn't we? And that'll be out soon. Let's have a little clip.
Just like the section about bees themselves is what hooked me because I was like, this is crazy. I didn't know this about bees. This is crazy. I didn't know this about bees. And so I kind of just fell in love with bees and not so much the idea of becoming a beekeeper, but then...
And then you'll have to listen to the interview to hear the rest.
Yeah, guys, this is going to be a good one.
Yep, she's fantastic. And we had some feedback. She missed you by different types of hives to compare how happy bees are and what they prefer. That's true.
It's a serious thing. It's a serious
from,
thing.
Chris Andrews.
Yeah, Chris, that's a good point. And, we do become a bit addicted to the type of hive box we put them in.
And how many types of beehives have you got, Margaret?
Yes, well, guilty. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different types.
Yes.
We're trialling out some other ones that are a bit smaller. We're looking into some other things and other ways to keep bees. So, it's addiction.
It's all good. And Daniel Benefield says, I think I'm an addict.
Hey,
yes,
good on you, Daniel.
Yes. Daniel, I think you are. So, no, and I think the other thing people often do is when you look at a photograph of bees, do you naturally look for the queen?
Always.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
You're an addict.
That's it, guys. And we hope that that's identified it for you, and that when you become a beekeeping widow or widower, you know why.
Yep, there's no cure for bees except more bees. And the next story, the last story of the week, month, why you need to avoid bumblebee nests. Well, I've written here, bumblebees rock for starters. We get lots of calls to move bumblebee nests with limited luck. It's hard to move a bumblebee nest, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that bumblebee nests studies need a bit more work, over time. But this article will tell you about the bumblebee nests, and they are saying that everyone likes bumblebees until they build their nest too close for comfort. That is, bumblebees build seasonal nests, usually underground, but also in wall cavities and even old piles of leaves. By late spring, they are literally hives of activity.
Absolutely. So if they don't bother you, I just leave them, eh? What do you think?
I don't think they are an issue, and if they're only going to be there for a season, then why worry about it?
Absolutely. I agree totally.
Check out this article, guys. It's in stuff.co. And, have a look at it and see what you think, and get back to us on the articles we presented tonight, which you have already been enjoying.
Yes, absolutely. Let's move on to questions from you. That was, of course, the Tui.
I think I was just sitting in the forest in Kiwi Nirvana land.
Yeah, because that video we did the other day for the new project, you can hear a lot of tuis in the background, so that'll be coming out soon.
And Chris and Laura thoroughly enjoyed the bellbird that they heard. I think that was down in South Island.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, Kiwis are very lucky to have such wonderful bird life here.
And questions from you. First question was, how often can you use an oxalic acid vaporizer? And
very good question.
This was actually mentioned on the interview with Frank. Oh, let's play what Frank says. We sell vaporizers, but they're like just the ones you plug to a battery.
Yep. They work really efficiently. Yep.
Yeah, no, I think they're good.
Yep, and you can do it a number of times, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't affect the bees. And because oxalic acid is in honey, you're not going to really affect the MRL or anything like that. So you can do it a number of times and keep doing it until you've dropped your numbers right down. And it's ideal that, and especially in the autumn, and that's why you do that in the middle of winter. You can put it in, and within half an hour you can see if any mites dropping.
Oh, yeah, no, I swear by it, it's great. It works well.
But you've got to really cover them up and then leave them closed for 10 minutes and make sure there's nothing really escaping.
Absolutely.
That was great, and it just reinforces the reason why we sell it as a product in our online shop, and it can be done in a way that it's not invasive over winter. So check it out in our online shop, guys. And, Frank Lindsay's been doing beekeeping for a long time, so it sort of confirms where we're at and all that other research that's coming through. So,
and that is at kiwi.bz/Frank, and she starts talking about it about 34 minutes. But I encourage you to listen to the whole show because it's fantastic.
Because it's awesome.
And the next question: how do you get rid of a wasp nest in New Zealand?
Well, we've talked about this many times, and we're hoping that this becomes a question that doesn't come up too often. But at the moment, I think the first line of defence is to identify where the nest is.
Yeah, absolutely. And then do some kind of issue. You might need to use some kind of pesticide or Some people use petrol, but that's probably not environmentally friendly.
Well, the petrol method is an old one, isn't it? And it's been used for a long time. It's not a huge amount.
No, true. But there's also things on the market called a new product we talked about in episode 85 called Vespex. If you look at that one, you can have a look. We talked a lot about that, so have a look there. It's
not a product that we sell, and to be able to deal with that one, you have to do a test and all this sort of stuff. But for one or two nests, I would sort of say that perhaps just a little bit of petrol, cap full of petrol is enough.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you want to send us a question, send it to info@kiwimana.co.nz, or you can click on the leave a voicemail message on our website, which
that's awesome, and
a lot of people have.
That's just so cool. We can actually hear from you, and that just is awesome to hear you. And we just love to hear the comments, and we'll share that with the audience if you're up for it. And that's speakpipe.com/kiwimana speakpipe.
Absolutely. If you send us a message, make sure the subject says
banana.
Then we'll know. Then we'll know it's from the podcast.
Oh yeah, that was some really good questions, and just keep bringing the questions in, guys. A lot of you have been talking about the end of the honey flow, and I think that's probably one of the things we'll be addressing in the next podcast.
Absolutely. Let's move on to feedback from you guys. Feedback from you guys is where we get feedback from you guys, and we love to get feedback, as we've said.
And we love to get feedback from you guys.
And here's a message.
And gals.
Absolutely. Well, guys is kind of gals and boys, isn't it? Girls and...
here endeth the lesson.
And we got a message from Steve Lawson, who's the host of the Future podcast, which I believe will be very successful, Steve, and it's called Let's Talk About Top Bar Beekeeping. Listen to Steve's message.
Hi, my name's Steve Lawson. I'm from South Carolina in the USA, and I'd just like to say how much I enjoy your podcast and looking forward to your next.
Thanks,
cool.
Steve. And
it's a very
cool podcasting voice.
Absolutely. And, earlier on in the show, we were going to talk about what people are doing now for wintering down. And for a top bar, it's going to be a lot different. For my bench hive, it's going to be a lot different. And for my Langstreth, it's going to be a lot different. So we hope that you can enjoy Steve's podcast. Let's talk about top bar beekeeping. So thanks for your voicemail, Steve.
Absolutely. And let's move on to the new feature of the show, Random Review. Here it comes. That's fantastic. And every month we read out one random review, and the winner will receive a $30 kiwimana gift voucher. But
guess what, folks?
It's jackpotted.
It's jackpotted. We're going to jackpot it 3 times if people don't claim it.
Yes, and so this prize is actually $60 now.
Woohoo! Kiwimana gift certificate.
And this covers reviews submitted up to the 24th of February. So if you did yours after that, tune in next week.
So, yeah, that's awesome. And when did that first start? So it started from what date to when?
Please hold, caller. From the 26th of the 1st.
Okay, awesome. So that gives you a time period to see whether your review will be chosen.
Okay, let's read. We're using a service called random.org, so we're totally random and totally unbiased, we hope. Let's draw the review from this month.
The winning number is
001.
Number 1.
That was the one that won last time.
Well, it's random. It's random.
It's random number 1.
And number 1 is Ahina Criswell. She bought a children's beekeeping suit, and she says Sophia loves wearing her suit. Thanks, and nice and thick.
Awesome.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Okay.
So you be in touch within 2 weeks after this podcast is released, and you will get the voucher for $60.
Woohoo! That's a good one to win, that's for sure.
Yeah, and if it's not claimed, we jackpot again.
That's it. And I'd like to just go back to the fact that we're in autumn now, and we didn't really cover that a lot. And I said that we were going to give you some ideas on what you should be doing at this time. I know that some of you are coming into the start of your season, but we're coming to the end of the honey flow. The nectar has been really late this season. So a lot of you need to do a big assessment of your colonies. Start looking at the amount of brood you've got and condensing that, and also organising a box of honey on the top of your hive, and get your hives ready for wintering down and complete all your treatments.
Yes, the treatment should be starting, now really, in New Zealand.
Yeah, I usually recommend that you start them in February, so you finish by the 1st of March. But because we've had a bit of a later nectar flow, some of you have chosen to hold off on that, and that's no problem at all. The temperatures have been high enough to use some of the time old treatment, so that's been okay. And yeah, so guys, make sure your hives are all clean, that the bottom boards are clean, and that they're dry. And yeah, put things in place to keep those colonies nice and dry for preparing for winter.
Absolutely. And if you're one of our friends in America, get ready for spring. Start making those boxes, start doing the frames. Get organised, guys. Yeah,
have plenty of boxes, get ready, have some swarm boxes ready so you can easily transfer them in maybe cardboard boxes or some sort of lighter hiveware to bring them to your apiary, and then pop them into their new houses. And yeah, the best thing to do is to be prepared.
Absolutely, and do your splits early and check for queen cells, and you'll be all right. So get in touch and tell us how you're getting on.
Yeah, that'd be great. We'd love to hear how you guys are going. I know that Greece has been in touch, and we've talked about that. So yeah, we'll probably hear how things are going for them.
Yeah, and we've heard from a lot of beginner beekeepers that are getting their first bees soon in spring in America.
Yeah, Herschel's getting his bees shortly.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, a lot of people starting their beekeeper adventure over there. So all the best with it, guys.
Absolutely. And coming up, we have an interview with Mary Canning from Follow the Honey in Boston. Here's a little excerpt of that so you can listen.
Whet the appetite.
Yeah, and remember to subscribe on iTunes so that you'll get this coming to your phone. Here we go.
Creating that call to action and following the honey. We say at Follow the Honey that bees are a gateway bug.
A gateway bug.
That's interesting. I can't wait to hear. Yeah, I can't wait to hear how she explains all that, because she's saying gateway to the addiction, or does the addiction already exist?
Oh, I think for Mary the addiction does exist. And she's doing some fantastic work for a lot of charities, doing a lot of bee stuff in Africa. So it's really interesting to hear.
Yeah, that's wonderful, and you guys, tune in for that one.
And we have a mission for you guys this month. This is your mission.
Dun,
dun, dun. Yes, if you could share this post, and if you go to the show notes at kiwi.bz/87, at the top of the page you will see some social media things. You can click on Facebook, Twitter, one of those social media links, and you can share it with all your friends on social media. How about that? Can you do that too, Margaret?
Yeah, I'll do my best. This recording will not destruct in 3, 2, 1.
No, it will not self-destruct. So that's it, guys. So thanks for joining us again on a Kiwimana Buzz podcast. We really appreciate your time, and we hope you're having a great autumn/spring coming up.
Yeah, guys, and we're closing this episode looking out towards the sky, which is very grey, but a very calm and peaceful night here at Kiwimana HQ, and thanks so much for listening.
Absolutely, and good luck to Bernie in America, and we'll see you all next time.
Crikey, Gary. See ya!